floor and his glasses are off to the side and he's an old man.
Yeah, only after we find out later that he did in fact have a stroke, but only after he says the word Tommy in a question mark, Tommy. Like, who's Tommy?
Well, you can see that it said dad.
Oh,
too.
sure. Yeah, so there he is. So Tommy is his son.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
And then this is a neat postcard thing. That was the introduction, sort of like the setup, and then there's this postcard of Royal City, and what a pretty city, right? It's like it's almost like Florence. It's got this river in the middle and bridges and
but still not really like bright colored.
Right. It still looks like an industrial town. One side of the river is all factory, and then it looks like it's got cute little row houses and shops on the other side.
Yeah, but like the water isn't really blue. It's more gray, and the sky is kind of brownish, and it's like the colors really set a mood for me in a lot of comics, and this mood is just really
this watercolor wash
damp.
is damp. Oh, that's a great description. It's damp and it is moody. This looks vintage. Mm-hmm. This postcard also looks vintage.
Yeah,
because we're in modern times here. In fact, one of the characters drives a Prius, I think.
Yeah.
And, but this town looks run down. It's a rundown town.
Yeah, the setting is really, really well set up here.
Then we meet some new characters.
We cut to some new characters. And so all these characters are going to be, the original guy, the original old man, his family. So we have this one son, and he's driving a Prius, and he's an author, and he's in an argument with his publicist or whatever about, hey, I'm working on the book, cut me a little more slack, we've already cut you some slack, give me an extension, we already did give you an extension. And as he's having this argument, he looks out his front windshield, and what does he see?
He sees a young boy. And the young boy is in the middle of the street. There's some cuss words, and he stops to see.
Slams on the brakes.
And he stops and gets out of his car when this kid walks away. And why would he do that? Because he knows this kid. Or he thinks he knows this kid.
Yeah, he has kind of like like, he says Pat with like a question mark and an exclamation, like,
No. His name is Pat, and the person on the phone is saying Pat to him.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Okay. So, I must have read that wrong the first time.
Yeah, so he's got, I gotta go, and he's like, what the heck's going on? The guy on the other line's like, what the heck's going on? And he gets out and he chases this little kid, or walks to where this little kid disappears underneath a culvert, and, this little old, or like highway bridge, and he's gone, and he walks down into this dry gulch, and he sees nothing, and he's just again calling out for Tommy.
And he's calling out for Tommy. So now that's our first connection of like, there's this Tommy character is kind of haunting both the old man who died and this younger guy novelist. So it's like, this is our hook, is who is Tommy? What is he doing? What is he to these other characters? How did he just disappear like that?
And we kind of see this setup happen in three more instances.
Yeah, with the other family members. But actually, before we get into that, I wanted to ask you about, so when this novelist Pat is talking on the phone, he says, I've got the rough draft right here, I just got to type it up. And you'd see in his passenger seat, he's got like this notebook with a bunch of sticky pad things coming out of it. But when he gets back in his car, it's not the same notepad. Did you notice that?
They shared that detail, but I didn't spend a whole lot of time looking at it.
So I saw that, and then I was like, oh, I wonder. So this is that beginning of a comic book where you're like, how much fantasy is in it? How much, are ghosts real? Like, is this person, did this guy just got a trick played on him? You don't know the extenuating circumstances of this world, but you're just kind of feeling it out. So, like, my first thoughts are like, is this boy a ghost? Is he some kind of trickster? Is he like a god character? He changed this notebook, but was that in the guy's mind? Or all, like, where is the crazy thing happening? Is it in reality or is it in the character's minds?
Yeah, that clearly is a different notebook. I went back and just reviewed that whole scene, and I didn't pick up on that as like, but yeah, that's a huge thing. Like now, but also I love the conversation before that. That's like, I mean, he had a hit one time. We kind of get that with his last book. That was several years ago. We've given you over a year to get extension on this one, and just the idea. I know that people can do these things fast, but he's just like, oh, I just have to type it up. And it just seems so ridiculously like, give me 2 more days and I'll just type it up, or give me another week and I'll have it typed up. You're going to type an entire novel in 2 weeks? I don't know how these things work.
Yeah, 50 words a minute, pump it out.
Yeah. So we have more of the same with, the rest of the family. The rest of the family.
So the next one's the daughter. And she has kind of an interesting story. I thought it was a little bit more unique than just a guy who's a novelist who's late on a deadline. She's like working for some company that's looking to buy out a factory. They're going to turn the land over and buy it for something else. And she's going to make a lot of money on this. But her husband works for the factory that's going to get bought. So he's not happy because he has to lose his job, but she's happy because they're going to make 10 times more money in the deal than the guy's salary.
And also she's an idealist. She's going to improve the town by doing this. Yeah. We're going to get restaurants and golf courses and we're going to bring people to this town that doesn't have people. We're going to make it a destination again.
Move past the dying city of whatever factory.
Yeah.
The factory's going down anyway.
And, the factory's going away, so why not benefit everybody here? And so there's a lot of tension in this book. That is, it's real family tension. We have family tension in the beginning with the mom and the dad, arguing over snacks and cigarettes. We have tension with, Patrick, the novelist, coming into town, who, hasn't been in town for a long time, and he's using his dad's, stroke as an excuse to get off from skirting the work of getting his next novel out. And then we have the sister who is also, she's got drama in her life between, like James said, she's working this deal and her husband's going to lose his job, but they're still going to benefit from it. And this just adds tension to everybody's life. And all the while, they're all seeing Tommy.
Yeah. And it took me a while to pick up on that who they were seeing was Tommy in all of these different ages and stages. So, like, one Tommy, he's got, like, a beard and mustache, and he's drinking with his brother.
He's a drinking buddy.
Yeah, he's a drinking buddy, and he's a little more grizzled. And then sometimes Tommy is the little boy who needs his sister to babysit him. And then the one that took me a while to get was that when he and his mom are seeing his dad at his deathbed, I guess, he's wearing like a priest's robe.
And he's a minister.
He's like a clergyman. And so I didn't click with that right away, and I don't know if it was or like he did a good job making sure Tommy always wore a yellow and orange shirt.
Right,
and that's
right.
kind of the through line. Then he's like the only character with blonde hair. So it's not like you confuse him for a different character, but he looks so different in his different ages that sometimes it threw me off.
Oh, look at this.
In a good, like, I'm going back and forth whether it's good or, like, whether there could be something, how much do you want to tip your hand? Like, at the end of it all, I recognized it because there's this big page where you see all of the ages together.
Uh-huh.
But I kind of liked not realizing it or, like, having to figure it out as I go along.
Oh, how about this picture of Royal City built out of radios? Oh, it's so fantastic.
That's a good one.
Oh, this is so fantastic. So the dad is having dreams of his son, Tommy, talking to him through the radios again. And he's walking around town in his pajamas, but the town is now built out of antique radios, vintage radios. It's so cool looking. And then we cut to the hospital where the mother and this clergyman are having a conversation about dad and death and, talking about mass and how he has to get there and light candles for Tommy or light candles for his dad. And she says, "I'll see you there, Tommy."
So I think so. It's like each family member has a different age that Tommy is in their mind. But at the very end, we see Tommy at all of his ages in front of a gravestone that he was born in 79 and died in 93 or whatever. And there's the 5 different Tommies.
Yeah.
And I even like, so the youngest Tommy's in like his pajamas and he's holding a pig. And the pig totally reminded me of one of the characters from Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
It got in there a little bit.
Yeah, he got in there. I mean, Tommy looks, just like Sweet Tooth. Just missing the horns.
Without the horns. Maybe the middle-aged Tommy is kind of in that direction.
I really, really, really like the drinking buddy Tommy, because he wears his hair and his Fu Manchu beard exactly like one of my best friends back home named Doug. He looks just like Doug. Has that same funny, scraggly hair.
You should get him a yellow and orange checkered shirt.
So there it is. There's Tommy Pike, beloved son and brother.
Yeah.
Headstone.
So
that's the reveal. That's issue 1, and it's definitely got us hooked, right? It's got me hooked. I want to read all these.
It's got me hooked in a certain kind of way. But, so, I think the art here is outstanding, and I think that this device of a character who's dead, but all his family members see him at a different age, is a really cool device hook type thing. But I don't know if there's really any plot here that's keeping me hooked.
I can understand. I mean, I kind of want to see where how these things get resolved. I mean, and how Tommy's going to help them resolve it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that like each individual person has their stories of like, oh, the wife wants the factory shut down and the husband wants to keep working and the guy has to get his novel done on time and then the dad is dying of, but none of them are really like, I guess I just don't really care that much about any of them. They seem kind of boring, or it's very, like, all of the dialogue was very ordinary people-ish.
Uh-huh. It does have a twinge of